Welcome to Connective Florida. Today we're going to be talking about Naples, Florida. So a lot of times when people think about Naples, Florida, they think about it as one area, one destination. And usually that one destination that they're referring to is downtown Naples. So sometimes you may know it as 5th Avenue South, or you may be more familiar with 3rd Street South, but those two areas kind of make up part of downtown Naples. That's the more affluent area. Surprisingly, that's where all of the huge homes are, where we're talking about 30, 40, $50 million homes that are not gated. Port Royal is down in that area, and you can drive all through that area because, like I said, it is not gated. So downtown Naples, where the shops are, the restaurants are, the pier used to be there. They're rebuilding the pier. They have a beautiful plan for the pier, by the way. You can look that up online. But that downtown Naples area is what people like so much about Naples. All the cute little boutiques, the walkability of it. You can walk to the beach pretty easily from there. All the restaurants, music in the evening. That's where they put the Christmas tree during the holidays, and they bring in fake snow. So all these wonderful things in downtown Naples. That's what we're going to use today as our geographic point when we discuss other areas of Naples that maybe you had not considered, or maybe you had and you're just completely confused and you're like, is North Naples good? Is East Naples bad? Is East Naples better than North Naples, and why? We're gonna clear that up today for you, and our point of reference is downtown Naples. All right, now before we jump into East Naples, I want to briefly touch on South Naples because that is brought up from time to time. So again, geographic point, we're talking about from downtown Naples. If we're referring to South Naples, that's the area that's been considered for about 20 years, kind of an area of resurgence. They're always trying to kickstart that area. And I feel like it takes a little leap and then it takes a step back or two. They always seem to be hitting problems down there with getting the growth the way that they want it to become. So South Naples is always trying to kickstart itself into sort of an artsy district. And there are little shops down there, not many. There are a coffee shop or two down there, a restaurant or two down there. It does feel a little bit artsy. It does feel a little bit old Florida, maybe is a good way to put it. The houses, for the most part down there, are original to the area. You do see a lot of older homes, a lot of frame homes, a lot of homes that have low ceilings, popcorn ceilings, ceiling fans that are attached to the wall with a chain. You know what I'm talking about. So you have a lot of those older original structures there, not a whole lot of HOAs down there. So if you just kind of want a house, a little frame house, maybe a little stucco house, that might be something that could work for you, because most of that area also, like I said, it doesn't have a lot of HOAs down there. So sometimes people will buy in that area for the purpose of trying to do an Airbnb, VRBO, which be very careful with that. Make sure you're working with an agent that understands all of the different and the new rules that are coming into play in Collier County. So you do have to get a little bit careful, because you don't want to buy something thinking that you can do a nightly Airbnb and then you cannot, and your ROI is blown sky high. So that said, there is some building in South Naples because it's one of the few places that there's room to build. So there is some new construction down there. It's a little, in my opinion, run of the mill. Now listen, I know as I go through this, let's just say this, I know that somebody out there right now has someone's auntie's cousin's mother who bought something for $5 million in an area I'm going to mention, and they're going to tell me I'm wrong. We are speaking in generalities. We are speaking to, let's say, 90% of the community is going to be what I'm talking about. You can always find for the most part, a plot of land somewhere if you're not super picky, and build it up and put a house on it. You can always do that. So we're talking about more your person that's just coming from Michigan or Boston or wherever. They're coming to Naples and they need this cleared up, and they want to know as a whole what area they may like best. So that's what we're talking about right now. So let's not get crazy with it. All right, so that said, there is some new construction down there, and like I said, it is a little bit ho-hum in my opinion. There are some areas like Stock is a builder that I think is pretty good. They do some customizing so you can get things that are less cookie cutter. Now, let's talk about East Naples. East Naples is going to be communities like you may have heard of Lely. A lot of people mispronounce that and call it Lely. It's Lely, and it's the way you pronounce it is Lely. Also, Treviso Bay is down there, which is a beautiful golf course community. There's condos, there's coach homes, there's single family homes. Prices range for a golfing or really a non-golfing condo, because they do have golfing and non-golfing. So your lowest price point is going to open in your non-golfing condo, and that's going to be in the ballpark of $400,000 on up to a couple, $2-3 million for a single family home. So that's a big, beautiful gated community. A lot of people really like that. Lely is another community in East Naples that you can hit almost any price point. There's a beautiful golf course in there as well. There's more than one golf course in there in Lely. There's a private club that you can join called the Players Club. There's golfing in Lely. There are private clubs you can join in Lely, pools, all kinds of walking trails. It's a huge community. Maybe you've been driving down Tamiami Trail. Some people call it the East Trail, also known as Highway 41. All of those are pretty much the same down in that direction. You may have noticed those huge Mustangs, those horses, as you enter this beautiful community. That is Lely. And like I said, it is enormous. Prices range for as low for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath older condo that's probably going to need a little work. You can buy one of those in the $130,000, $140,000 range on up to a couple, $2, $3, $4 million for a big, beautiful home on a bigger lot. So lots of choices in there and everything in between. So the problem with East Naples, in my opinion, is I think the shopping is pretty limited in terms of livability. You've got your typical suburban stores. You've got, you know, your Marshalls and Home Depot, Lowe's, your typical restaurants, those type of places. The same kind of shopping and restaurants that you would get anywhere. There's an area that they call Restaurant Row, but they're pretty run-of-the-mill restaurants like your Outback and Carrabba's, just the general restaurants, Applebee's style restaurants. But it doesn't feel, in my opinion, like anything that's super special or anything that really screams, I am in Southwest Florida, in terms of the retail shopping and the restaurants. There are some here and there, but for the most part, it's a little bit regular life. Now, you might like that. You might say, you know what, I'm all about it. I want to be in regular life, but close to the beach. Now, the beach is going to be about 15, 20-ish minutes away, depending on what time of year. It can be even more than that, but it's usually about 15 or 20-minute drive. You will likely not be walking or riding your bike to the beach in the heat of Southwest Florida from somewhere in East Naples for the most part. So the beaches you would probably go to, you might go over to Marco Island. A lot of people that live in East Naples go to Marco Island because that's about a 25, 30-minute drive over the Jolly Bridge. And then you have the Marco Island beaches. Or you could come in a little bit towards downtown Naples and you have that entire coastline that you could just pop in to one of the little areas where there's beach access. Loudermilk Park Pavilion is probably my favorite beach in Naples, so you could go there. But any way you look at it, you are probably in the 15-minute-ish range. Now, like I said, if you want somewhere that is a little more affordable for the most part. They are building in the south and the east part of Naples. So if you want newer construction and you want a villa, you're good with something that maybe a townhome, something that's a little bit cookie cutter, you can find it there if you're just looking for something newer. But what you do have to be careful of, especially in Lely, is a lot of that area is floodplain and it does flood. So you do have to be careful in East Naples. The other thing I would say about East Naples is that it's really far from the airport. If you want to be reasonably close to RSW, which is also called Southwest International, that's what most people fly into. That's in Fort Myers. During season, you're talking about probably a good solid hour, if not more, to get there. Some people actually go across Alligator Alley and they go into Miami, Fort Lauderdale to fly. So I guess that could be a good and a bad. If you don't mind the distance from the airport, then you do have a couple choices. Sometimes if you can't get the flight you want out of RSW, you might feel like it's convenient to go across to the other side and fly out of one of those other airports. But many people find it to be very inconvenient to land in RSW in Fort Myers and then have to take that hour more drive all the way to East Naples. Now, as you head north, from north down 41, north down Tamiami, as you head north, you're going to move through central Naples, which is going to be like 34104, 34105. As you get a little bit north of that, you're going to be down 34110, 34109, that direction in there. You're going to notice things like Mercado, Vanderbilt Beach, Pelican Bay starts to head down that direction. A lot of people are familiar with Pelican Bay, Pelican Marsh. That's moving right into North Naples. Some people still consider that more central because Pelican Bay is huge, but that moves along into North Naples. Now, North Naples, you will find, is probably a decade younger in terms of people for the most part than that downtown area of Naples. It just trends a little bit younger. And the reason for that is that when Naples, downtown Naples and the little immediate surrounding area, as that grew in popularity, that was always sort of known as a big wealth area and for the most part, old money. We'll just call it old money. Well, as people really, the word got out that Naples was nice, people started moving in, younger people started trying to move in, but they couldn't afford right there in that downtown area, so they would just get just outside of it. If you think about the downtown, that center part, the center of the bullseye, each rung as you move out gets a little farther from the center. It became a little bit more affordable as you move to North Naples. Now anymore, North Naples is, I would not put it in the realm of affordable, but you can still find condos in the $300,000 range that you would probably be really happy with. There's nice amenities, everything looks well kept. North Naples is beautiful. And like I said, Mercado is there, which is shopping and restaurants. The Whole Foods is there. You have tons of beach access. Vanderbilt Beach is really nice. And like I said, it does trend a little bit younger, and that appeals to some people and some families. You know, some families don't want to feel like if their kids are playing frisbee across the sand that, you know, Marge and Edward are going to get mad if the frisbee knocks down their cooler or whatever it may be. And it does trend a little bit younger. As you move north, it does trend a little bit younger. And I would say as you continue to walk north, just as an aside, you hit Bonita Springs, Estero, Fort Myers, and on out. That does trend a little bit younger, kind of almost like by decades as you go that direction. Because downtown Naples is very expensive. Like I said, the condos, the buildings, very expensive, and also not just older in terms of the buildings, but also the demographics. And another thing, as I mentioned, floodplain. You do have to watch those floodplains. A lot of times people will ask me, well, if I'm a little bit away from the coast, Doesn't that mean I'm not in a floodplain? And the answer to that is no, because you have to think about sewers. Sometimes sewers can't take part of the storm surge. So that's a completely different topic. I'll have a video out on that talking about hidden flood zones. So be sure to subscribe if you're interested and you want to know all about that, because all those things are really important. So I would say that if you want to live somewhere that's a little bit less expensive, a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, younger, there's a water park in North Naples off Livingston. There's tons of shopping. There's tons of restaurants. Yes, they're going to have your big box stores everywhere, but they also do have a lot of boutique-y things. And it takes you a little closer to Bonita Springs and Fort Myers. So if you're somebody that wants to get down on Fort Myers Beach, or you really enjoy going to Doc's Beach House that sits right there on Bonita Beach, you're closer to those things. There's lots of fun things to do down in Naples, but I would almost say, in my opinion, there's more to do in North Naples. You're also really close to Coconut Point, which is in Estero, and that is an enormous outdoor shopping mall. And especially if you're gonna live in Florida full time, you might wanna be somewhere where there's lots of sports teams, and you know, where there's soccer and there's baseball and there's softball and there's parks and there's all of these things. And I'm not saying that that doesn't exist down in Naples proper, down in the downtown area, but it's not the claim to fame. The claim to fame is a little bit more livability in North Naples. And you're about 15-20 minutes from RSW. It's very easy accessibility to the airport from North Naples. I do have a map that lines out pretty much everything that anyone has ever asked for in Naples. So I not only have marked all of the beaches, the little beach accesses that you may not have known about, but I also marked the Trader Joe's, the Costco, the Home Depot, the hospitals, everything you would need to know in terms of livability. I have a map that I can send you if you're interested in taking a look. I think that's a very good place to start in your search, because it helps you kind of determine, am I close to everything that's important to me? You know, I have somebody that's told me recently, I need to be within a mile of a Target. That's my number one concern. So all of these things are on that map. If you're interested, just shoot me an email and I will send you out the link to it. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know down in the description box, and I'll see you in the next couple days for another video.